Hi, my name is Shaniqua Gay. I am the artist for the Songs for Black Girl exhibition at the Emma Darnell Aviation Museum. Won't you join me for this VR experience on the inside? When you step into this space, you are immediately enveloped and transported into a world of stark contrast: black and white, shadow and light, presence and absence. The walls are expansive and hold large-scale silhouettes that command attention. Each figure, frozen in movement and contemplation, bearing the weight of history, memory, and symbolism. What do you see? A child draped in a flag, gazing up at a monumental girl cloaked in the same fabric. Yet the flag does not rest upon them as mere adornment. No. It binds, it claims, it redefines. Across the room, two young girls pull at the American flag, stretching its form like that of a freshly washed and air-dried blanket being folded from a clothesline. The lines of the flag extend outward, fluid, connecting the figures, one who mirrors, one who responds, one who is her past, and one who is the future self. The choice of black and white is not simply aesthetic, it is historical, it is archival. It invokes the documentation of a people, a struggle, joys, and survival. The silhouettes create a visual tension between what is known and what is obscured, between the specificity of identity and the universal experience. Look into their eyes. These are not merely faces, they are testaments, echoes of a lineage carried forward. Three figures standing in formation, cloaked in the weight of a nation. The American flag draped is not just fabric, but its inheritance. This is not a portrait of submission. It is a song, a prayer without sound, a hymn. Black girls holding the past and the present in their gaze, daring the future to recognize them beyond the margins of its pages. Their expressions carry something ineffable, knowing and resilience, the quiet defiance of those who have been spoken of. Look closer. They are not asking for permission to be here. They are declaring it. They are scriptures, verses, chapters that refuse to be erased. They are the ones who have built this country while being told they do not belong in it. They are the daughters of the silenced, now speaking in shadow and light, carving their presence into the walls, into the air, and into you. And then there is a seated figure on the pew, watching us as much as we watch her. A black girl in a pew, the very seat of moral reckoning, in a place meant for salvation, yet often steeped in exclusion. The church has always been a sanctuary, but it has also been a battleground, a place where the righteous have whispered prayers, while just beyond its doors injustice raged. Here she sits, gazing forward at the ready. Wrapped in striped fabric, she is regal and composed. The texture of the work around her suggests the layered nature of identity and history, stitched together, woven from stories both inherited and created anew. I really wanted this installation to speak to the alchemy of race, class, and age, to the delicate yet powerful hands of black girls navigating a world that so often tries to confine them. It is a meditation on citizenship, exclusion, and the radical act of play as resistance. It is an honoring of the past, a reckoning with the present, and a reimagining of futures where these figures, these girls, move with unbound freedom. This is Psalms for Black Girls, a sacred text written in silhouette, in memory, in unbreakable spirit. If you listen carefully, you can hear their song. It is the sound of resistance, the rhythm of legacy, the quiet and the roar of beings who have never been anything less than divine. The psalm continues, written not just in form, but in movement, in stillness, in the haunting echoes of a black girl's presence, with the architecture of this country's faith and fallacy. The woven images flanking the murals speak in hushed tones of a sacred reckoning. These are not just woven images, they are a sacred text of scriptures of a Black girl's journey, etched not in stone, but in thread. These tapestries do what history books often fail to do. They honor the presence of Black girls, they sanctify their existence, they make their memory impossible to erase. In the tapestry, a Psalm 2024, a girl stands in the hallowed aisle of the church with the American flag draped around her. The Black Baptist Church in Alabama was at one point in time ground zero for the civil rights movement, the place where voices rang out, where feet marched forward, where strategies for liberation were whispered and shouted. It is here in this house of worship and war that they perform a citizenship that is already theirs. They do not seek entry, they redefine the very foundation on which it stands. It is here that she stands at the threshold of a sacred space, her gaze meeting ours with an unflinching truth. The American flag draped over her shoulders is a symbol of belonging. It swaddles her like an heirloom passed down through generations, a promise. Behind her, the pews stretch out in silent witness. The altar awaits. This is the church, hallowed ground, a sanctuary for the weary, a battleground for the faithful. And yet she stands alone. What does she seek? Protection, deliverance, or simply acknowledgement? This is the Psalm's refrain, the tension between freedom and enclosure, between inheritance and escape. It is the voice of a Black girl who refuses to only be one thing, who is both child at play and the prophet at the altar, who is both the question and the answer, both bound and boundless. We turn to the second tapestry, Fly Girls in the Temple of All That Is Familiar, 2024, which is no longer still. This is an image in motion. Bodies breaking free from the quiet solemn of the first image. They run, no, they soar down the church aisle, wrapped in the same flag that once heavy hung on the shoulders of their elders and ancestors. The stripes billow behind them, transformed from burden to momentum, their feet barely touching the ground, their striped stockings flickering like ghostly echoes of the past generations and past selves. They run toward the light, toward something just beyond our reach. Is it freedom? Is it reclamation? Is it joy? No, it is the all. They are the all. They run down the aisle like they own it. They have capes of black and white stars fluttering in their wake, no longer heavy burdens, but wings of possibility. This is a church, a Baptist church, steeped in histories of protest and praise, yet here it is transformed into a playground, a runway, a launch pad for joy. Their striped stockings flicker like exclamation points against the polished wood floors, reminding us that childhood can be holy, that laughter can be revolutionary. In their flight, we witness a future unbound, a reminder that play is a radical act. Their giggles echo off the brick walls like a chorus announcing that this space and this country can be a place of exuberance, of becoming. The Spirit moves in them, around them, and through them. They do not ask for permission. They do not bow their heads. They dance forward, fearless and free, claiming citizenship, woven from joy, from history, and from soaring promise of what is to come next. Joy capturing the girls in freedom and play and being without inhibition. These images are not performative, as I asked them what they felt comfortable with doing and provided limited prompts. I wanted their imaginations to take over the space. This is true autonomy and agency for childhood citizenship. I really enjoyed capturing the girls in freedom and play and without inhibition. These images are not performative, as I asked them what they felt comfortable doing and provided limited prompts. I wanted their imaginations to take over the space. This is true autonomy and agency for childhood citizenship. In the Cornerstones 2024, the girls stand at the entrance, 3 in formation, draped in stripes and stars. Their gazes are steady, shoulders squared, feet planted on the steps of a Black Baptist church that has weathered the weight of history. They are not here by invitation alone. They arrive as if returning home, as if they have always belonged. The sign beside them reads of a chief cornerstone, yet in this moment they are the cornerstones of faith, of nation, of tomorrow. Brick arches frame them, testifying to the labor and devotion of generations past, but their presence affirms a new inheritance. They are the heirs of this space, carrying within them every prayer whispered and every hymn raised under this roof. Stripes brush against their bodies, no longer heavy with the centuries of exclusion, but repurposed as a testament to their rightful place. They are not passive symbols of youth. They are the architects of a future that does not question their citizenship or their worth. They wear the flag like a promise, one they intend to keep, one they intend to expand, so that no one is left out. Within the Christian context, particularly significant in the Black Baptist Church, the trio can call to mind the Holy Trinity of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. However, placing 3 Black girls in front of a church underscores their connection to spiritual heritage and suggests that they too embody a form of sacred unity or divine presence. These figures also represent a continuum of time, the ancestral past, the lived present, and the aspirational future. Standing together, they embody the idea that Black girlhood is informed by the sacrifices of previous generations, actively shaping today's realities and boldly envisioning tomorrow. In the first drink of water holding the bird, 2024, the 2 girls seated are sisters, Nala and Ava. Nala sits in the quiet command, her name itself meaning the first drink of water. In her arms, she holds Ava, whose name evokes the spirit of flight and yearning. Her name means bird, voice, life, and desire. Together, they form a living psalm, a testament to bond between sustenance and possibility. Nala is the wellspring, the source, the provider of refreshment to parched souls. Ava is the messenger, the spark of life that longs to soar beyond every boundary. In the hush of this tapestry, they exist in a realm all their own. Nala on her throne-like chair, steady and resolute. Ava cradled, yet ever ready to take flight. Striped stockings stretched over their legs that seem both playful and ancient. The chair beneath her is throne-like, its back arched in silent difference in her presence. Above, flowers rest like a halo, and in this moment she is neither child nor woman, neither saint nor supplicant. She is the first drink of water, nourishment itself, a wellspring for what is yet to come. Their names hold the weight of generations, Nala recalling the ancestral wisdom of nurturing and survival, Ava calling forth the unstoppable force of imagination and longing. In the context of Michelangelo's Pietà, the image of Nala and Ava evoke both religious and historical tones of sacrifice, intergenerational knowledge, maternal care, and divine protection, while reimagining these concepts through a Black lens and framing them within the experience of Black girlhood. These tapestries ask us to consider how Black girls move through faith, through citizenship, and through history. They remind us that even within the rigid walls of a church, within the tight weave of this nation's fabric, she will always find a way to run, to leap, to dream beyond what she has been given. This is their psalm, a gospel of resistance, a prayer wrapped in thread and shadow. And like the sacred song, it does not end here. It lingers, it echoes, and it calls us to listen. In closing, these silhouettes and tapestries speak in the language of Black speculative art, rewriting the past, reclaiming the present, and envisioning futures where Black girls are the center of their own universes. Their movement, whether captured in stillness or mid-leap, says, "We have always belonged. We are the cornerstones. We hold the threads of history, and we weave them into our tomorrow." And as I walk through this gallery, I realize I am not merely witnessing their story. I am being invited into it, asked to consider my role in shaping a world that recognizes Black girlhood as both sacred and sovereign. This is a song of truth, of triumph, of a future that is already here. Play is not merely recreation. It is a radical declaration of belonging. It says, we have the right to exist in these spaces, to move freely, to explore, to express, to dream. By weaving joy into the fabric of public and sacred realms, play affirms that citizenship is as much about imagination and selfhood as it is about rights and duties. Through play, freedom becomes something lived and felt, a present tense reality rather than a distant promise. So I ask you, where do you stand in this narrative? What do you carry when you leave this room? And how will you carry their story forward?